Why is everybody talking about work-life balance? I see it, I hear it, I read about it all the time. Every blogger has an opinion. Every guru out there is piping some kind of solution from whatever stage they're speaking from. And everybody is interested in finding this elusive work-life balance. I find it funny because work-life can't really ever be this permanent solution. And yet that's what we're all seeking for. We're all seeking this permanent solution, this long-term, stable outcome that balances work and life, that combines them together and makes them even and makes them stable. It's not going to happen. It doesn't exist. And to think that it does is ludicrous. Look at the word balance on its own, all right? Balance means that there are two opposing forces, and that in a moment, those two forces happen to be in equilibrium. That is balance. Someone standing on their own 2 feet, that is balance. They are in equilibrium, opposing forces trying to pull or knock the person over. That is balance. Someone sitting in a chair is not balance. It's stagnation. When you have something supporting you, something propping you up, something that is a long-term stable solution, that is stagnation, not balance. Really, what we're being sold from all around us is how to be stagnant while also living and working. That is what most work-life guidance is. It's stagnation. They put a pretty face on it. They put some pretty words together. They put a nice cover on it. And they try to sell you on the idea that you can work 5 days a week, and you can be home 2 days a week, and you can just do that every day for the rest of your life, 5 and 2, 5 and 2, 5 and 2, and that you're going to find happiness there. You're never going to find happiness being stagnant. We're built to grow. We're built to thrive. We are built to balance, to survive through contradictory, opposing forces. When you start working for an international intelligence agency, you start to realize what balance is. Because that job is not a job. It's a lifestyle. And you've heard people talk about lifestyle jobs before, right? Small business owners oftentimes have lifestyle jobs. Doctors have lifestyle jobs. Jobs that don't really end at 5 p.m. and start at 8 a.m. They're jobs that become your life. Well, when you have a job that is your life, how do you have work-life balance? You see my point? You don't. Work and life are the same thing. You can't stagnate. You can't sit back and have the normal 5 days on, 2 days off. You're actually seeking the true form of balance, opposing forces that only have equilibrium in small moments. Work-life balance is exactly that, equilibrium in small moments. There is no permanent solution. One of the best examples I can think of to kind of demonstrate this point is stunt mountain bikers. Have you ever seen a stunt mountain biker? They're insane. Mountain bikers in general are a whole different breed, right? They are gear-headed, danger-seeking, thrillingly adventurous individuals who will put themselves on a small metal frame on 2 wheels and hurl themselves down mountains. They're crazy, but they're the perfect example of what happens when you actually live in a place of balance and not stagnation. These stunt mountain bikers, I have seen them pop an endo on their front wheel and hold themselves in balance on that front wheel. Not falling left or right, not falling all the way over or falling back to 2 wheels, but just holding themselves in balance. And you know what happens when you watch somebody hold that? They're not holding still. There's constant effort, there's constant tweaking, there's constant energy going into maintaining that balance. But it's never enough for them, right? Because then they go from holding that endo to hopping from pillar to pillar on that endo across a pier. Or they pop a wheelie and run this wheelie across some gate, and some 6-foot gate in a backyard in some gated-in community. You see them going through a trail and jumping from small 2x4 wooden hanging path to hanging path, left and right, going over and under logs at great speed, always in balance. And when you're a mountain biker, what does imbalance mean? It means you haven't fallen yet. That's the true definition of balance. It means you haven't fallen yet. Consider the scales of justice, or any two scientific scales you ever had in high school, right? The scale itself comes out in equilibrium. It is an empty scale balanced on one thing, balanced on a centerpiece, and it's in scale. But as soon as you add any kind of force, any kind of adverse condition to one side or the other, it's out of balance, and it rocks to one side or the other. And the only way to bring it back to equilibrium again is to either take the stressor off or put something else on the other side. Think about that for a second. The only way to bring the scale back to equilibrium is to either take something off or put something else on. Now, if you take everything off the scale and you let the scale sit in its own place, is it in balance or is it stagnating? I would argue that it's stagnating. It's no different than a person sitting on a couch, watching a television, doing nothing. But when you put something on one side of the scale and the scale tips, and then you put something on the other side of the scale and it comes back to equilibrium, now you have balance. You have a balance of two counterproductive forces that are resulting in an overall equilibrium. That's balance. And that's what we need to be doing in our lives. We need to add a stressor. And when that stressor becomes too much, we add something to help us recover from that stress. The key word being recover from the stress. You don't rest, you recover. True work-life balance happens when you recover from the stress just enough so you can add more stress. And then you add more to help you recover. And the equilibrium continues. Just like those mountain bikers, what we are trying to do is put ourselves right on the edge of balance at the point before we fall over. Those mountain bikers know what it's like to either fall or fly. And they know that because when you're on that point of balance, when you're there, when you're pushing yourself to the edge like that, you're either going to succeed or you're going to fail. But you're equally close to both. And as soon as you pull back, as soon as you sit back on a chair, as soon as you let yourself stagnate, you are further away from failure, but you are also further away from success. There is no lifestyle that we want to pursue that takes us away from the opportunity to succeed. In the agency, we have a special kind of target called a hard target. And hard targets are used to characterize those individuals, those potential intelligence sources that are the hardest for us to meet, for us to recruit, for us to collect information against. They could be terrorist leaders. They could be senior government officials. They could be military generals. You name it. If it is difficult, if it is hard, and it's the hardest of the hard, those are called hard targets. In mountain biking terms, that's the endo. That's when you're up on that front wheel in balance. We're trying to chase down hard targets. And hard target operations are the ultimate form of work-life balance because you will spend months or years building a dossier, researching, studying, trying to collect information, trying to collect support so that you can mount an operation against this very difficult target to try to get to. And even if you successfully get that support, even if you find the resources, even if you make contact, you might still fail because they are the hardest targets to reach. But you work, and you work, and you work to try to get there. And for those months or for those years that you're building, you're staying up late, you're working hard, and you're taking just enough time to recover from the stress, to recover from the disappointment, to recover from the frustration, because you believe in the importance of your target. You know that in order to keep Americans safe, in order to make the world a better place, you have to keep pushing the gas. You have to keep chasing the target, no matter how hard they are. That is your balance. You're always working. You're never resting. You're never stagnant. You're always on the edge of falling. You're never sitting, you're always standing. And what happens when in that hard target operation? What happens when an opportunity presents itself? What happens when you get that phone call, when you get that intelligence report, when you get that open source news report that says that your target is going to be in a certain place at a certain time? You go. You take that opportunity. You pursue it with everything you have. It's an opportunity, and it's the opportunity you have been waiting for. You have been working for. So you go at it with everything you have. You work 22-hour days. You eat food, if you remember. You get unhealthy. You get sick. You steal. You connive. You do anything you can do to get to that target. You put yourself on the razor's edge because only there are you close to success. You are also close to failure. But the only way to succeed is to put yourself on the edge, to put yourself in equilibrium, to add counter stress to the stress, to balance just for the moment, to try to pursue what you're trying to achieve. Hard target operations are exactly that. You work and recover just enough to keep working until you achieve your objective. And guess what happens when you achieve your objective? When you find yourself in front of that hard target, when you capture them, when you neutralize them, when you recruit them, whatever it is that you're trying to do with that target, you find them and you count them as mission complete. And then you start all over again with the next one. You still don't stagnate. You don't go back to your couch. You don't sit down and rest. There is no rest. There is only recovery. People who rest are doing what the world wants them to do. They're thinking of work-life balance as a permanent solution where they just sit and they stagnate. And it's important to have people who are stagnant because people who are stagnant consume. People who are stagnant purchase and buy. They become addicted. People who are stagnant feed the economic beast. But even more important are those people who put themselves on the edge, who put themselves in an actual work-life balance with counter forces of stress and recovery. Those people constantly pushing, constantly trying to achieve, willing to fall in their pursuit of flight. Those are the people who make the world a better place. Those are the people who can change history. So what are you doing right now? Where are you in your pursuit of work-life balance? Are you trying to find a way to lean back, to sit down, to rest? Or are you trying to find moments where you can recover just enough so that you can keep on pressing forward? Even more important are the people around you telling you that you need to rest, take it easy, take a load off, sit down. Let somebody else do the hard work. Or are you surrounding yourself with people who are saying, you can do it, I can help you, what do you need? What do you need from me? How can I pitch in? Do you need a break? I can give you a break, but you're the only one who can achieve this goal. Find the people who lift you up. Find the people who keep you on the edge. Find the people who want you to be in balance for the moment, because they recognize that if they take something off, you'll be out of balance. And if they put something else on, then they need to add more to it as well. Find your way to being in balance. And when you're there, remember that you're only there for the moment, and you're only there for now. That is everyday espionage. Thank you for listening to the Everyday Espionage Podcast. Remember to review and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. And if you took something away from today's conversation, find a friend and share the message.
Freedom! We all want freedom. Will we ever get freedom? I just want freedom.